So here we go. Welcome back to another edition of the League One Lowdown, and I'm pleased to be joined by an old friend, good old Ryan Dilks, the host of the Second Tier podcast, but also a Derby County fan. Ryan, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me. How you been doing, my friend?
I've been doing great. Looking forward to the football season finally coming back because it feels like this summer has really dragged. So now that they've got football to talk about, I'm looking forward to actually having conversations with people at barbecues again.
Yes, my friend, indeed. And Derby County in League One, Ryan. Wow, what a season it was last year. Can you recap as you can? It wasn't the greatest season with a lot of different things going off the field. Although on the field, some good football, some good goals and stuff like that. But yeah, recap that maybe some people don't know.
Yeah, well, obviously Derby got relegated last season, but it was because mainly of a 21-point deduction, which was always going to be difficult for anyone to overcome. But if you ask the vast majority of Derby fans, I think they'll probably say it was the most enjoyable season we've had in quite a while, purely because we had this underdog tag that we haven't had in ages. We've been used to having ourselves near the top of the championship table. So for us to, not be fancied to stay up by anyone and then giving it a right good go and at one point looking like we could actually stay up, it was quite enjoyable. The football we were playing was good. We were playing a young team who really felt quite close to the supporters, which we haven't had for quite some time. So in a strange way, despite it obviously ending sadly, it was an enjoyable season on the pitch. Behind the scenes, it was an absolute farce because we thought we were going to get taken over on numerous occasions, and it didn't happen. It kept getting dragged out until it finally got sorted out after the season had finished. Maybe if we got taken over during the season, Derby might have stayed up, but it wasn't to be. But we're just happy now to have a fresh start.
Yeah, that fresh start is what it's needed. And what's the current mood then? Wayne Rooney's quit. Liam Rosenior is in at the moment, interim manager. We'll talk about the transfers in a minute. But as a Derby fan, I'm sure it's relieved that you've been taken over. You've got a club again. What's your thoughts overall? What's the current mood among supporters?
Yeah, it feels like we've got our club back, which is such a cliche, but that's how it feels after being put through the mud so many times over the past God knows how many years. Rooney going, I think at the time I was a bit like, oh, that's a bit of a blow. But now that I think about it more, I'm less bothered about it. He did a fantastic job last season, but the feeling is that Liam Rosenior, the new boss, interim boss at the time of recording, he had a lot of input on how the team wanted to play. And now that he's going to be given more of a higher role, there's a feeling that he's actually a really highly rated coach and he could be a good manager. And I don't think anyone else would want anyone else in charge if Rosenior wasn't given the job. So, yeah, I think there's a sense of optimism that there hasn't been for quite some time. I think there's a sense that this could be quite an enjoyable season. I don't think we're automatically expecting to get promoted, but the fact that we're heading into a season where we're expecting to win more games than we have done in previous seasons, that's why I think fans are optimistic and excited about what's going to happen. Plus, we're going to go to some grounds that we haven't been to ever before because we've been in the championship for so long and haven't been at this level. So it's going to be a new experience for every supporter.
It is Forest Green Rovers, name Morecambe, all these teams. It's
a bit different to Fulham and Forest and what have you, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, now this is our fourth year in League One, so we're now getting used to playing these teams week in, week out in this division. Let's talk about transfers then, Ryan. Well, it's been interesting. Some big names coming in. And of course, one of the big ones that I'm looking at straight away is Dave McGoldrick, former Town player, a very good player for this division, who's not long ago, he's playing Premier League week in, week out, and now he's dropping down to League One. Of course, a bit older now, of course, but rattle out all the names. Of course, some big players leaving as well. Tom Lawrence, I think he's joined Rangers. I think he was probably always going to go, and he's not going to come drop down League One football. You just couldn't see that happening. But as a whole, what do you think of the transfers coming in, and also the players leaving?
Yeah, McGoldrick's one who I've been really impressed with in pre-season so far. I was very excited when we signed him, because despite him getting on a bit now, he's still a fantastically silky player, isn't he? He's not very different from the player that was at Ipswich because he's never really had pace, has he? But in terms of, dribbling ability and working his socks off, that's still all there. Conor Hourihane is the one who's caught my eye, another former Town player, although he didn't play much at Ipswich, did he? But he is just someone who shouldn't be playing League One football, quite frankly. I mean, he was in the playoffs with Sheffield United last season. So the fact that we managed to get him in, I think, is remarkable. And that left foot that's always going to have quality into it. James Collins, I think, is a good signing from Cardiff. He could score a handful of goals, or a hatful of goals rather, next season. James Chester, experienced head. Corey Smith coming in from Swansea. He's a fairly useful player. Tom Barkhuizen, Nathaniel Mendez-Lang. All big names. My concern is they're obviously all quite old. There isn't much youth there. But having said that, the players who we've kept over from last season, the likes of Max Bird, Jason Knight, not sure if he's going to stay or not, but these are good young players. And there's a nice mix now of experience and youth. But you'd say that the vast majority of the free signings we have made, you wouldn't be surprised to see him playing Championship football in a normal season. So the fact we've managed to get them all in is exciting. I'm just a bit concerned about pace because they are, as I say, quite old.
Yeah, sometimes you worry about that because injuries can happen and stuff like that. Definitely, players have had injury-prone careers as well, but we shall see how they get on. Let's talk about then this season ahead in League One. First time Derby have been playing League One football for a very, very, very long time. What are you expecting? What are you wanting to see? Of course, promotion playoffs and all that sort of stuff. Derby will be up there because of how big the club is. But it's going to be a big, long season.
Yeah, it is going to be a long season. I've seen plenty of Derby fans think that they'll easily get promoted this season. I don't think it's going to be that simple. I think you're looking at Ipswich, and I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to an Ipswich fan on an Ipswich paper. But I think Wednesday, Peterborough, also clubs who will be fancying their chances of getting promoted next season. But I think Derby will definitely be up there. I think we'll win more games than we won't win. So that's why I think it's going to be an exciting season. I hope we continue to give young players a chance because of our financial situation over the past couple of years. We've been forced to give young players more of a go. And I hope that isn't just because of the financial situation. I hope it continues over the next season and beyond that. So it's an exciting time to be a Derby fan after everything we've been through. I think people are looking up as opposed to looking over our shoulder. So yeah, it's an exciting time and an optimistic time as well.
Indeed, and I'm looking forward to my trip to Pride Park. It's been a while because we've been stuck in Tier 3, but I'm looking forward to that trip. Let's look at the head-to-heads then, Ryan. We first see Town Derby at Portman Road in October, and then the 1st of April at Pride Park. And that will be an interesting time of the year as well. That's the big run into the season. We will know where the league's shaping up. That's going to be a massive game. What shall we expect for those two games? Because when we have big boys in the League One, like Sheffield Wednesday taking on Ipswich and Derby taking on Sheffield Wednesday, but Ipswich Derby, there'll be two big games.
Yeah, definitely. There'll definitely be big games. Because as I say, I think it's between 4 teams for promotion this season, unless something goes seriously wrong at one of the 2 clubs that we've mentioned. So yeah, it's going to be definitely interesting. I think Derby have quite a good record at Portman Road. I think I'm right in saying so. We'll be hoping to get something from that game. When Ipswich come to Pride Park, it's going to be a ferocious atmosphere, especially if both teams are having it out for promotion, especially in the last month or so of the season. So it's going to be exciting. I'm particularly excited to see how Ipswich do this season because I was backing them to do very well in League One last season with a Paul Cook in charge. So with McKenna, it's going to be interesting to see how he does with the squad now. But Ipswich have strengthened as well, so it's going to be the 2 teams who I think many people will be backing to get promotion next season. And when they come head to head, I think it's going to be really fascinating to see how they do, especially from a Derby perspective, because we've got Liam Rosenia, who is an unproven manager, but a very highly rated coach.
Indeed, and it's guaranteed to be on telly, isn't it? It's guaranteed. They're going to put it
on
telly.
So. Yeah. You'd have thought so. I've always thought that League One doesn't get as much coverage as it should do. So you'd hope it'd be on telly. But I mean, last season, there were plenty of games where you looked at and thought, they're massive games. They should be on telly, but they weren't for whatever reason. So you'd hope they'd be on telly. But either way, if you're a fan and you're getting up to Pride Park, it'll be an eventful one, to say the very least.
Indeed, indeed. Well, Ryan, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for your time. Any other business, anything else to mention before you wrap up?
Just keep in mind that any Ipswich fans coming to Pride Park next April, there aren't many pubs around there, so make sure you do your planning beforehand.
Yes, indeed, my friend, indeed. Well, thanks for joining me, my friend. Best of luck with the second tier podcast. The championship is looking likely again to be a very exciting season. But there we go. Derby County all covered, done and dusted in another League One lowdown. I'll be back for many more of these. So bring it on. Bye-bye for now.